I was having camera struggles, so I'm gonna have to shoot this video all over again. I'm gonna try and not show you my frustration. 안녕하세요 여러분, 저는 여러분의 한국어 친구들 사랑합니다. Okay, so we are doing the Q&A video that I promised that I was gonna do in that, like, what was it called? Big changes happening to my channel video that I filmed earlier today. I changed my shirt, you know, slightly. Ooh, risque. Is that the right word? I don't even know. But I changed my shirt because I noticed that when you wear the same clothes and you have the same background, people don't realize this is a different video, and this is a very different video. Anyway, so this is like the second, third, fourth time that I'm filming this video because I was having grammar difficulties. Literally in the first time I started this, I was like, guys, I got bubble tea. I'm almost done with my bubble tea. This is so sad. But yes. So anyway, so okay, but if you haven't seen that like big change video, you should definitely go watch it. There's some big changes happening to this channel, and I think it's very important that you know what they are moving forward, because there are going to be some things being uploaded in the next few weeks and you're gonna be like, what is this? If you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyway, so today we are going to do the Q&A, and these questions I got about 2-3 weeks ago. I asked for them on Instagram and I asked for them on YouTube. So we are gonna start with the Instagram questions. I'm super excited, guys, because why? Okay, this is gonna seem super YouTuber and y'all are gonna be like, this isn't even a big deal to tell you. Ooh, let me move. I feel like I'm not centered. Am I centered? I hope I'm centered. Okay, cool. Anyway, I'm gonna be using my phone to read the questions. Okay, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a big deal, okay? Oh, also, you guys should grab a snack. Grab a snack, because from filming this video for the 4th time, I know that it's gonna be very long, so go grab a snack. That's literally why I had got this, because I was like, I'm gonna need a snack. So I'm gonna be reading the questions on my phone, which is a big deal because it means that I got a camera. So that's what I'm filming on right now. That is the video that, the camera that I used to film like the big announcement video. Because all my videos up until that video, the like big change thing video, was filmed here on my little iPhone 6S. You have done such a good job. I'm so proud of you. But basically I felt it was time to upgrade to a Canon G7X Mark II, because if you watched my big announcement video, you know that I really want to start doing more travel vlogs. And although this is great and it served me well when I was traveling in Germany, there are some things that could be better. For example, right now, this lighting, guys, it's so dark outside, but you can still see my face. Like with my iPhone, it just wouldn't work. Like I'd be like, okay, I gotta film tomorrow because you can't see me. But the Canon is doing a really great job with that, and like it focuses on my face, and like, look, I'm wearing white. Okay, YouTubers and videographers will know what I'm talking about, but I'm wearing white and my camera's not freaking out. Whenever I wore white, like usually I'd avoid wearing white if I was filming a YouTube video, because my iPhone would freak out. It'd be like, oh, white, what do I do? Oh my gosh. Like it was bad. Anyway, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm just really excited about this camera. Okay, so what we are doing. All right, we're starting with the Instagram questions. I hope you grabbed a snack. Okay, so the first Instagram question we are starting with is from Tina. So Tina reads, you asked, do you watch any K-dramas? If so, which ones are your favorite? And do you study with K-dramas? How? Okay, so I don't watch K-dramas that often, simply because I don't have the time. So I work part-time, I'm also a student, and I have a YouTube channel, so I don't really watch dramas that often because it doesn't fit into my schedule. But my top 2 favorite are Pinocchio with Lee Jong-seok and Park Shin-hye, and Signal, which it's like a crime show, and the crimes that happen in the drama are based on crimes that actually happened in Korea. So it's really interesting, and I like learning about the crimes. Like obviously they took artistic liberties because it's a show and they want to like show the crimes happening, so you know there is, like I said, artistic liberties being made, but it's really interesting to see like the crimes that took place in Korea. Like I liked watching it and then like researching it and being like, oh my gosh, did this actually happen? But it actually happened. Okay, so if you like crime shows, you should definitely go check out that drama, Signal. That's literally what it's called, Signal. Honestly, like highly recommended. Like 10 out of 10. Dang. Do I study with K-dramas? Not really. I guess I believe that if you're going to be studying with like a K-drama, it should be something that's challenging, right? A little above your level, but not like super above your level. And although I am intermediate in Korean, most K-dramas are, they're like above my head. Like I can watch it and I'll be like, I don't know what just happened. And like I don't know enough Korean to, I guess, to be learning efficiently. Like yes, I can watch it and still learn Korean, but it's not efficient use of my time, and my time is very limited. Like I said earlier, I work and I'm a student, and yeah. So no, I don't really study with K-dramas. When I do study, it's usually like I guess you could say a web drama that I found on YouTube, or it's there's one that I found on Netflix called Miracle, and that one I enjoyed that one so much. So that one I was able to watch with no subtitles because it was that perfect point of like challenging, but not too challenging. So like with that drama, I learned a lot. When I am learning with K-dramas, I just take notes on my phone while I'm watching them. And if I hear a word over and over again that I don't know like the meaning of, I'll go and search it on Naver and like I'll learn that word. But again, I don't use K-dramas for learning Korean because it's not an efficient use of my time. So on to Eulia, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I will not be offended. You said, you were basically asking me, because you asked me lots of things. You were basically asking me, I'm dying. Hold on. Okay, I'm okay. All right, so you're saying, is it wrong that you still want to learn Korean even though it wouldn't benefit you as much as other languages, for example, Chinese? No. It's not wrong that you want to do something that makes you happy. Obviously, I don't know why you're studying Korean. I don't know, but I assume it's not because you want to add it to your resume. It's not because you need to learn Korean, or you wouldn't be asking this question and you probably wouldn't be following me, right? But if studying Korean and learning Korean makes you happy, then it really doesn't matter if it's helpful or not. Like, is Chinese more beneficial for most people? Yes, probably, but it really shouldn't matter, because if learning Chinese doesn't make you happy, then why do it? Why do it? So for me personally, learning Spanish, like if being fluent in Spanish would help me out so much, simply because of where I live and the fact that I'm actually Mexican, but I'm not fluent in Spanish, right? Like I should be fluent in Spanish because I'm Mexican. So for me, right, I study Korean a lot, right? Korean is like my bae, it's my language bae right now. And sometimes I feel guilty for not studying Spanish because Spanish would be so much beneficial, English would be more beneficial for me, or Chinese would be more beneficial for me, but they don't make me as happy as Chinese does. Dang it. Learning Spanish doesn't make me as happy as learning Korean. And though there are certain reasons for that I won't get into in this video, but just do what makes you happy. I assume learning Korean is a hobby for you, and hobbies are meant to make you happy. They don't have to be useful. They don't have to be useful. And yeah, okay, that's all I have to say about that. Sorry, like I could rant on forever and ever about that, but I'll stop right here right now. The second question you asked me was why do you study Korean, and in what way has it helped you or opened doors for you? Okay, so the reason I studied Korean isn't super like inspirational or super like or anything. It's not super like I guess special. Simply, I found out I was going to be studying abroad in Korea, and I wanted to get the most out of my experience, and I felt that learning Korean would provide me the, I guess, the opportunities or the ability to do so. Another reason is that I've always wanted to be fluent in another language, and at the time, not anymore, but at the time I felt that the only way to become fluent in another language was through immersion. And I was thinking like, okay, I'm going to Korea, I'm going to be living in the countryside, this is a great opportunity to really immerse myself in Korean. So basically I started learning Korean because the opportunity to go to Korea and really be in an environment where I felt that I could become very proficient in a language arise. So I honestly, looking back, it could have been any country. I could have gone to Germany, I could have gone to Japan, any country where I was gonna be put in that same type of situation where I was gonna basically, or at least at the time I thought, right, if I felt that I was gonna be put in a situation where I was gonna be immersed in the language and have the opportunity to potentially reach a high level of proficiency, then I think I would have done the same thing. So if I had gone to Russia, I probably would have started learning Russian very hardcore, to the same way I did Korean. Simply, it was that it's basically my desire to become fluent in a foreign language, and Korea gave me that opportunity to really, really work hard for it. So that's why I started learning Korean. What was the second part? Oh, the second part you asked me was, has it opened any doors for me? Yes. Okay, so I am a senior. I don't know why I did this. This makes no sense. But I'm a senior in university. I am graduating in the next few weeks. So I've been interviewing a lot for jobs, and they ask you like the basic interview questions like, what's your biggest accomplishment? When was the time you had to learn a new skill, or tell me about a time when you were frustrated and how you handled it, like things like that, right? Really behavioral like questions and things. And my experience learning Korean and studying abroad in Korea really prepared me to answer those questions in a way that demonstrated that I would be a capable employee. So for example, when they ask me, what's your biggest accomplishment? One of the things I think of is learning Korean. I always talk about like, my biggest accomplishment is learning Korean, make it really professional, and I basically tell them I had this opportunity and I wanted to get the most out of this opportunity, so I started learning Korean. At the time I had no knowledge of Korean, so I had to start from the very beginning. And after really dedicating my time to learning this language and self-study, just being very diligent, when I arrived in Korea, I placed into the intermediate leveled course. So in 2 months, I was able to teach myself a year's worth of Korean. And it was a really great experience because I learned that I can teach myself anything, and I can do it quickly if I just sit down and dedicate myself to it. So it's usually what I talk about, like, I learned Korean and let me tell you how I did it and how it'll be basically how I can take those skills into your company. So I talk about Korean in that way in job interviews, and I talk about like going to Korea. So when they say like, tell me about a time when you worked with a team and there were conflicts, I'll be like, okay, when I was studying abroad in Korea, I had to do a group project with some students that were from other countries, and since we were all from different backgrounds and cultures, we conflicted on how we should be solving this project, or how we should be solving the problem for this project. And we had leadership issues because everyone felt that like they had a different idea of what leadership looks like and things like that. So obviously you can answer those questions without studying abroad or without speaking Korean, but they really helped me demonstrate to those employers that I would be capable. And I can for sure say that I got one job offer simply because of going to Korea and learning Korean. I won't be using Korean or going to Korea in that job, but it really helped me. And they actually told me that they were like, oh yeah, you're like going to like this, basically the picture I painted of like my struggles and like challenges in Korea was the reason that they hired me, was because I was able to like overcome those challenges. And then there's actually another job that I interviewed for, and throughout my interview rounds, I actually brought up my YouTube channel several times. So they saw my videos and they talked about like how I'm teaching you guys, because that was valuable to them. That was something that would help me do my job for the job that basically in that position I would be teaching others through a webcam. So like what I do here is really valuable to their company. So just learning Korean and having this YouTube channel where I teach Korean and like going to Korea has helped me in getting a job. Okay, it has helped me in getting a job. In terms of like other stuff, because I don't know how old you are, it's helped me make friends and really step out of my, I guess, little like bubble, because every time I meet, for example, specifically, every time I meet a Korean person, they find out I learn Korean, or I'm learning Korean, they want to introduce me like to all their friends and be like, check out, this is my friend Natalia, she speaks Korean, and they'll be like, say something, and I'll be like, what do I say? But yeah, it's just given me a lot of opportunities and like job prospects, I guess you could say. So I think that answers your question. I hope it does. Okay, moving on. So the next question we're looking at, so I don't know how to read your username, so yes, but the name you had for your Instagram was Moonchild, so I'm just gonna call you Namjoon's Special Army. I hope that works for you, because it definitely works for me. Okay, so you asked, what should I do besides learning Korean from Talk to Me in Korean and through music and stuff? What's the most important thing to do? So I know that when you asked this question, I hadn't released this video yet, but if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching my top 5 tips for learning Korean as a beginner that I uploaded probably like a week ago. Honestly, I don't know when this video is going to come out because I take forever editing Q&A videos just because they're so long. Anyway, so definitely check that out. I'll go into more detail about what I think you should be doing or focusing on as a beginner, so definitely check that out. But in terms of resources, I think you should find a structured course of some sort that will show you grammar and vocabulary, and it will build on itself. I say that simply because that has really worked for me. For me, I studied with Talk to Me Korean, the grammar lessons specifically, up until level 3-ish, I think. And then I started expanding to like other resources, simply because I felt that I wanted something that would build on itself more than Talk to Me Korean was. For me, although the like Talk to Me Korean lessons are like amazing, like they're free and they have great explanations, I really wanted something that was a little more advanced and more intense. So I switched resources, and I'll leave you, I can't speak anymore. I will leave you with a lot of links in the description box of free resources that you can check out to help you study. So I'll leave like YouTube channels and blogs and websites to help you. But I would recommend finding something that will build on itself, so while you're learning, you can still be reviewing, and something that will give you a vocabulary list so you can make sure that the words you are learning are words that you will see over and over again, so that you can make sure that you're actually learning them. Okay? Okay, but yeah, definitely check out that 5 tips video, because I think it'll really expand on I think it'll answer all the questions that you wanted me to answer now. Yeah, I think everybody should check out that video. If you're a beginner, you should check out that video. Put it in your watch later or something. Because I honestly, I spent a lot of time thinking about those tips. Just because I wanted them to be beneficial. So I think they'll offer a lot of value to you guys. Okay, next question. So, I don't know how to say your username at all. I tried like 5 times already. You asked for advice for people who've lost motivation in learning Korean. And how do you balance studying and doing other stuff? So the first question was my advice for people who've lost motivation. Y'all, I lose motivation all the time. All the time. For me personally, and I know this won't apply to a lot of people, but for me, my motivation to keep learning Korean is the fact that having lived in Korea, I have friends that don't speak English. And I know that if I stop learning Korean, or if I forget Korean, I will no longer be able to talk to those friends. I also have a little box full of goodbye letters from my friends in Korea that they, bless their hearts, they wrote me goodbye letters in Korean, and I know that if I stop learning Korean and if I forget Korean, I will no longer be able to read those letters. And that's really sad to me, because for Chinese, I used to write diary entries in Chinese. I can no longer read those diary entries. Like, I can look at them and be like, I'm pretty sure this is about this, but I'm not sure, because I've forgotten so much of the language, and I don't want that to happen with Korean. And for me, that's keeping me motivated. It's knowing that if I stop studying, my Korean is gonna like deteriorate, or my like Korean proficiency will lower to the point where I might not be able to read my diary entries from when I was in Korea. I might not be able to read the goodbye letters, and I won't be able to communicate with my friends that don't speak English. So that's how I stay motivated. Again, I know that won't work for a lot of people because they've never been to Korea. For those people, I would say you should start your own diary, whether it's only 3 sentences because you're a beginner, or if it's half a page because you're more advanced. I think you should start a diary and just write little things, being like, today I had lunch with my friend so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. Maybe say we talked about this, we talked about that, and I tried this restaurant for the first time. It can be really simple, really simple. And you'll notice that as you get further and further along in your diary, when you look at the beginning, you'll notice that you made some mistakes, and they're mistakes that you don't make anymore. And you'll notice that over time, you improved a lot. So at the time, sometimes I feel like a lot of us lose motivation because we don't see any progress, right? So with a diary, you're improving little by little, right? So it's like a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And so when you go back and you're feeling really unmotivated because you're not making progress, you can see, I've been making a lot of progress. I just didn't notice it because there was such small pieces of progress. And now you're seeing like the whole picture, I guess. Okay, that sounds super like emotional or something. That's not what I'm trying to make that sound like. But basically, I want you to start a little diary so that you can see all the progress that you're making. Or perhaps write a little diary in your native language where you document what's hard for you. Maybe you don't want to write in Korean, and that's okay. Just say like, today I was trying to learn particles and I really just, I don't understand why this is like this. Just write it down, because in a month, in 2 months, in a year, you might go back and be like, oh well, I forgot that was even hard for me in the beginning. Like, what was happening? So that's my recommendation to you guys that are feeling a little lost and are low on motivation. All right, and then the next part of your question was, how do you balance studying and doing other stuff? So as a lot of you guys know, I am a university student and I work part-time. I probably work anywhere from 20 to 40 hours a week on top of my schoolwork and YouTube channel. And I just mentioned that because I want you to know where my tips are coming from, because I know everyone's time management is different. So my first tip to you, and it's gonna be about your mindset. So for me, I don't have the luxury to sit down and study Korean all the time. I know on my YouTube channel, it looks like I do, but I don't. You're just seeing one study session that probably happened like, that type of study session probably happens like once a month, unless I have some other type of goal where I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to study every day this week or something, which usually doesn't happen. So the first thing you need to do is change your mindset and realize that if you have other commitments, that's okay. If you can only study once a week, that is okay. Sometimes you will have to change the way you study. Instead of sitting down with a textbook or going through some PDF notes, sometimes you're gonna have to settle for studying with your little app on your phone on your way to work, or you're gonna have to settle for listening to an audio lesson instead of studying with a PDF. Sometimes you're going to have to substitute your, I guess, time instead of sitting down and studying, because I know a lot of us like to sit down and study, right? Instead of doing that, you might actually just have to go watch your favorite K-pop group show up on a variety show or something, and even though it's not the best thing you could do with your time, you're gonna have to settle for it because that's all you have time for. And that is okay. That is okay. A little progress is just as good, okay? If you don't have time to study, it's okay. Like, for me, school always comes first. School comes first, and then work, and then everything else, right? So I don't study that often, because if I don't have time to study, I'm not going to study. That is it. That is the secret. My second tip to you would be to treat Korean as another course. So if the whole, like, don't find time, or perhaps you do have time, maybe you don't have a part-time job, you're just a student and you can afford the extra few hours of study time. If you can do that, then I would recommend thinking of Korean as another course. So if you're currently taking 3 courses or 4 courses in university, or whatever amount you're taking, and you can handle that, then start thinking of Korean or whatever language you're learning as another course. So maybe you'll have to stay at the library an extra hour or something and just study Korean. Just think about it again as another course, because I found that sometimes I have time to study Korean and I'll just go home from the library because I'm like, I finished my stuff, let's go home and watch TV or something. But if you think about it as another course, you'll be like, I'm done with my schoolwork, time to do my Korean. And I've seen that there's actually a lot of Instagram, I guess, what are they called? Study grammars? Study grammars that are really good at this. I don't even know. They're like the best time management people ever. But just think about it as another course. And a little thing that I would like to mention is if you don't have time to study at all, that is okay. Or if you need to take a break, that is okay. There are times where I don't study at all because I honestly just don't have time. That's okay, guys. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, so I actually don't know how to say your name, but I'm gonna say it with a Spanish accent because I feel like I can say it with a Spanish accent and it'll sound relatively okay. Okay, so I'm going to pronounce your name as Garza. I don't even know if I read it in Spanish like that, if they would be right with Spanish pronunciation, but it's okay. Okay, so you asked me, are you planning on coming to Korea anytime soon? Because I'm here for a year and would love to see you. Hee hee hee. Kiss kiss. Alright, so Okay, so like I said earlier, I'm graduating in a few weeks. So my hope is that I will be able to go to Korea this winter. Please, Lord, please let me go to Korea this winter. Nothing is official. It all depends on when my employer says that I need to start, which right now I haven't even picked an employer yet, so we'll see how that goes. But I will let you guys know. If I end up having the opportunity to go this winter, then I will let you guys know. And maybe we can organize a meet and greet. Like, that would be so cool. Like, that would be super cool. We can be like, oh my gosh, let's go get tteokbokki. Like, it'd be lit. But yeah, so right now I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go or not. It's okay. Let's rank it. Okay, so this is like 100% like I'm going, and here is like I'm not going. So I'm kind of like in the middle of I'm going for sure and I'm not going for sure. It's the possibility is more than wishful thinking. It's like I'm actually saving money for Korea, and I'm kind of like, I haven't started talking to employers about stuff because I do have a job offer right now, and I'm waiting to hear back from other companies in terms of like I finished all the interview rounds and stuff. I'm taking a deep breath because I don't want to get excited, because I'll know I will be heartbroken if I can't go. So I don't want to like think crazy about it, but my hope is to go. Yes, we'll leave it at that. My hope is to go. That's actually why I bought this brand new camera. As I said earlier, I filmed this video like several times, so I don't know if I mentioned it in this version, but I did buy a brand new camera. Actually, wait, I did, because I told you guys about my phone. Okay, so I bought this new camera because I know I'm not going to Korea without a proper vlogging camera. Because like I said, this phone, it's done a great job, but it freaks out with white. At night, you just see black. Like, if you try to vlog at night, which I tried in Germany, you just see black, and like the quality is not very good. That's why I got this camera, because it does really great in like when it's like dark outside, and like the field of vision is so great. Like, you guys see more of my room than I think you've ever seen, besides like the room tour that I did like a year ago. But that's why I got this camera, because I was like, I'm not going to Korea without a vlogging camera, because we all know I'm gonna vlog it so I can share it with you guys. So that's another reason that I got this camera. So it's stronger than maybe it's like stronger than wishful thinking. Again, I'll let you guys know. We're gonna leave it at that, because I don't want to go too excited, because I know that if I can't go, I'm gonna start crying. So yes. Okay, next question. Our next question is from Ricardo. How did you get to go to Korea, and how did you find friends there? So that's the first question you asked me. So I have a very simple answer, and I don't think it'll help you, but I'm gonna answer it because you asked me. So I got to go to Korea through my university. My university here in the US has a partnership with Suncheonhyang, which is my Korean university. So it was just an exchange program. I applied, I got accepted. Then I applied to like the Korean university, because that's what you have to do. So I applied to the Korean university. They were like, yeah, come on over. And I was like, okay, I'll see you in February. So that's how I got to go. I assume that's what you meant. And then you said, how did you find friends there? So luckily for me, my Korean university, I was accepted into a cultural exchange program. So because of this program, I guess the goal of this program was cultural exchange, right? So I was paired with several Korean students, and we met every week for an hour each. Like, I had how do I best explain this, because I feel like it's very complex, or maybe I'm just bad at explaining things. But my first semester in Korea, I was paired with 8 different Korean students, and I had to meet with each of them individually for an hour each week. That meant I spent 8 hours with 8 different Koreans each week. So you got to like become friends and stuff, because with this program, it was very lenient, I guess. We were allowed to go to lunch at a restaurant in town. We were allowed to go shopping in another town. Like, as long as we were able to log that we actually spent time with each other for an hour, like, that was fine. Like, it was very chill. We didn't have to just sit in a room and be like, hi, so the weather's nice today. Like, So that helped me make a lot of friends. And then again, because this exchange was to help people like with like languages and cultures and everything, my suite had 6 bedrooms in it. So it was a very large like suite. Again, the suite had 6 bedrooms and each bedroom had bunk beds. So there were actually 12 people in each dorm room, if you will, or each suite at my university. So I had 11 suite mates, of which at least 6 of them were Korean. So I was able to quickly make friends because we were all living together, and usually the suites would order dinner together. So we would have like, excuse me, like we'd like to order 6 burritos, or we'd like to order 12 people's worth of pizza or something like that. That sounds really weird. But we would text each other in our group chat and be like, hey, anyone want to grab dinner today? Like, I'm thinking of ordering kampitang, which I don't know how to explain, but let's just say is really delicious. It's like amazing. Okay, if I go back to Korea and eat some, I will show you. It's delicious. So we would be like, yeah, I'm down, and then we'd all like eat together, like have dinner together. I remember there was one time we went to like a festival together in Seoul. It was just like these suites were very, very close. Like we would hang out all the time. So that's how I made friends through the program. In terms of like going out and making friends, I didn't do that much because I didn't have to. But assuming that most of you would have to do that, I did go to church in the town over, and for that I actually had to go and make friends. So when I went, the priest, like, I'm a foreigner, right? So he came up to me and he was like, hey, like, you're gonna go to dinner with all of us, like, we're gonna go to dinner, you should come. And I was like, okay, like, the priest just told me that I should go to dinner, I'm gonna go to dinner then, because he's the priest. So it ended up that there was like a youth group at that church, and so after mass every like Sunday they'd go and have dinner together, because it was like the night mass, 7 p.m. Yup, that's where it was at, yo. Okay, that sounded weird coming from me, but so after mass every Sunday I would go with like the young adults to go eat dinner. So they were like university students and like recent graduates, I guess you could say. So that's how I made friends there, and it was really cool. They didn't speak English, so that was a lot of Korean I had to be using. But yeah, that's how I made friends outside of university. So I didn't make that many friends outside of university. Yeah, that's how I made friends. Okay, that like end. All right, and then the next question you asked me, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, okay, I found it. Was the language shift overwhelming? I got lost, I'm sorry. No, I guess. I think it was because I studied so much before going. I had really focused on my listening skills because I knew that like that's half the conversation. So no, like no, I felt like I was mentally prepared, so it wasn't overwhelming. There were times where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to learn Korean more, like I need more Korean skills, but there was never a time where I felt like I was super underprepared, I guess. Like I could go to the doctor, which I did. I went to the doctor several times by myself. I went to the pharmacy by myself. I did a lot of traveling by myself. So I would say no, the language shift wasn't scary because I feel like I was pretty well prepared for it. That's probably not the answer you were looking for. Sorry. And then you also left a little comment saying, I don't have much time to practice speaking, so that's what I'm most scared about. I love your channel, Purple Heart. Oh, thanks. Purple Heart to you too. Okay, I would not be worried about your speaking skills. Honestly, I don't think I practiced speaking that much before going. Like I read sentences to myself, and I talked to myself a bit, but I didn't really practice my speaking skills, and I was fine. I know if you've seen that, like how I learned Korean, beginner to intermediate in 2 months, that video, I remember like someone left a comment saying that my speaking skills must have suffered a lot because I didn't focus on speaking before I went. And I remember being like, because I was actually able to speak just fine when I got there. Like I would go up to people and be like, excuse me. I remember one guy, I walked up to him and was like, 죄송한데 도서관 어디에 있어요? Like, excuse me, where's the library? Because we couldn't find the library. And he was like, oh, it's that way. And that was like day 2 of being in Korea. And that, like, I remember there was times where I'd ask for directions and like, excuse me, when do you open? Like, when do you close? Hey, excuse me, how do I open this like triangle kimbap? Because I had to walk up to a guy one time on campus and be like, how do you open this? Because I honestly didn't know how to open it. So yeah, don't worry about it. As long as you can form sentences in your head very quickly, and I think if you practice like reading sentences out loud, I think you'll be fine. People are probably gonna disagree with me and be like, she's wrong, but in my experience, I was fine. Was I a little slow sometimes? Most definitely, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Next question. Okay, so the next question is from Kyle. Y'all, how obvious is it that I don't know how to read names? I would be an awful teacher. I'd be that teacher that calls roll and pronounces everyone's name wrong. Everyone's. Okay, anyway. You asked me, how do you make a sentence? Because I'm not good at making sentences. I've been struggling with how to use particles. Please help me. This emoji. Okay, so I don't know. I assume you mean like basic general sentences. So I don't really know how to explain that in like since I'm not like teaching in this video, I don't know how to best explain that, but I'll leave some great like basic Korean sentence structure videos for you in the description box. Yes. Okay, and I'm also gonna link some Talk to Me in Korean PDF notes for you over simple conjugation so that you can make simple sentences. And I'm gonna leave you with some particle videos. So honestly, I'm not the best person to be asking about particles. Like ing, ga, and in and nin really confuse me. Like I understand the feeling of each particle, but like they're still kind of difficult for me to fully grasp. Still, I'm not the best person to ask that, so I'm gonna leave you with a lot of links. Like a lot of links. I'm gonna label them as Kyle's links. Did I just pronounce your name differently than I did at the beginning of this question? Because I think I did. But yeah, I'm gonna label them just for you. Okay, and moving on to the next question, because I don't know how to answer your question very well, Kyle. Okay, so the next question is from Language is Hard. Agreed. All right, you said, how do you balance studying multiple languages? I know you also study Japanese, Chinese, and Spanish. Oh, you know me. Sorry. Sorry. How do you make time for all of them, or is it something you struggle with? I definitely struggle with it, but and this probably is not the same for everyone, but my main language is Korean, and for the near future my main language is gonna be Korean. So more time is always dedicated to Korean than all my other languages. My other languages are they're kind of more on a like, today I feel like studying Japanese, so I'm gonna study Japanese. I don't really have a structure for studying those languages. I do have like textbooks and things that I use to study them, but I'm not diligent with those studies because they're not as, I guess, I'm not as dedicated to those languages. For example, Spanish, I studied Spanish for 5 years in high school. So like 2 years in middle school and like 3 years in high school, for whoever's about to say high school's only 4 years. Yes, I know high school's only 4 years, but I studied Spanish for 5 years through I guess education, that sounded weird, through grade school. That's it, grade school. So coming out of those courses, my Spanish was pretty good, so I didn't really need to study them, especially because I'm Mexican. So not because I'm Mexican, but what I mean is like I have family members that only speak to me in Spanish, and we listen to a lot of Spanish like music, and my parents watch telenovelas, so I'm exposed to the language a lot, so I don't really need to I guess expand as much effort in maintaining my skills. For Chinese, it's kind of more of like when I feel like it. So if you've seen my other channel, you'll know, or if you follow my Instagram, you'll know that usually when I study Chinese is usually during like some kind of like school holiday vacation, because I don't study it, or I don't make time to study it when I'm in university, because my extra time goes to YouTube and Korean. And then for Japanese, Japanese it's really, again, like when I feel like it. So because of that mindset, I struggle with actually getting very far in those languages because it's not as structured of a study schedule. So in terms of balancing, if you are gonna balance them, which obviously I don't do because that's not where my goals are, but if you are trying to balance them, I would say just you need to recognize that you're gonna be slower at improving in all of them because you're like trying to spend your time on all of them instead of just focusing on one. Okay, I don't think I answered your question very well, but I just had to be like very frank and say that like I'm not very good with studying all of them because my main focus is Korean, so I'm not trying to make time for the other ones. All right, so moving on. So the next question is from Chasing Languages. Girl, I saw your YouTube video, it was real good. You guys should check out her study videos. Okay, anyway, you said, how do you remember and get used to all the grammar points in Korean? Sorry, I wanted to read the rest of the question. I don't know why I stopped talking. But how do you remember and get used to all the grammar points in Korean? I struggle a lot with it and always tend to use only the present tense. I feel that. When I was first learning Korean, I really had to focus on making example sentences because like you said, like I only wanted to use the present tense and sometimes the past tense. Like it was like, you know how there are different structures that kind of give a different feeling to each sentence? Like, bro, that was not happening. Like I would learn it and be like, that's cool, and I never use it. So I had to get used to making example sentences so that I could get used to the idea of using them. And sometimes, so watch someone get upset with me, but sometimes I would talk to myself and only use that grammar structure. So I think of a situation where that grammar structure is acceptable and I'd just like go off. Like I pretend someone was angry at me and or something, depends on the situation and the grammar point. But I'd basically say like, I'd make a ton of responses with that one grammar point. Just because I wanted to get used to the grammar point and get used to the feeling that grammar point has. Another thing that you can do is to watch a lot of K-dramas. I know earlier I said I don't watch K-dramas that much, but when you're learning grammar, it's actually, and assuming you're like a higher level, you're like at least upper beginner, low intermediate, when you're watching Korean dramas, you can actually hear some of the grammar points being used, and that really helps you because you'll be like, oh, look at the situation they're in, and they're using this grammar point, so that's how it's used. Like in Korea, when I was studying in Korea, I actually watched Korean dramas quite a bit, simply because I don't know. But so when I was watching it, at the time I was learning a lot of new grammar because the Korean course I was taking in Korea were so intense. So I could hear all the grammar structures I was learning being used, and that really helped me remember them and like see the different situations that they were acceptable in. So that is what I would do. Moving on to the next question. Oh my gosh, guys, it's getting really dark outside. Can you tell? So the next question is from, I'm gonna click on your name, Ray. Okay, hey Ray, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Okay, cool. You said tips for beginning to learn any language. So I'm gonna reference you back to that 5 tips for learning Korean as a beginner. So those tips, honestly, they can be used for any language. I labeled them as Korean because this channel is about learning Korean, or it was, you know. Okay, if you're like, what is she talking about? You got to go watch that Big Change channel video that I was talking about earlier. Because the channel's changing. It's not gonna be only about Korean anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna refer you to that video, and I'll leave that link for you down below, right? But those are my tips for learning any Korean really, any language from scratch. Yes, because those can, honestly, they're so applicable to every language. Yes, I think that's how I learned almost every language that I'm currently learning, or started. That's how I started learning every language that I'm currently learning, with the exception of Spanish. Spanish I was learning in school from the beginning. Yep, okay. Moving on. So the next question is from Kitty Cat Studies. Hey girl, what's up? Chelsea, what's up? All right, so you asked, what were some of the culture shocks you experienced in Korea? Culture shocks. It's been such a long time since I've been there, like 2 years, that sometimes I really have to think about it because I forget. First one that comes to mind the most is how community centered the culture is. Did that sentence sound weird? I feel like it sounded weird. But like you can't go eat by yourself. Like, okay, you can, but sometimes it can be very difficult because the restaurant will hesitate to serve you if you're by yourself because there's like shared sizes, right? They're like, I guess in the US we call them like family sizes or like shareable sizes, because it's like you order something and it's meant to be like, it's like 3 or 4 servings worth. So it was kind of hard to go and eat by yourself. Like if it was an actual, like a regular like mom and pop restaurant, unless you were in ajushi, because ajushi's can do whatever they want. They would go and eat by themselves and it was normal. but that was kind of difficult for me. Like, just, it wasn't difficult, but it was like a culture shock. Okay, I'm struggling to think of some right now, but I'll insert a clip. That is what I do. Okay, so when I first came back from Korea about like 6 months, I think I made like a whole video on culture shock, I think. I don't know, I'm gonna streamline those clips because that version of Natalia like a year and a half ago remembers culture shock a lot better than this Natalia does right now. So insert those clips. Ready, clips, go.
Another thing that I think is different is that you're expected to share your beverages. So, okay, this might not be a shock to some people, but in like where I live in the United States, when you order a bottle of cola, the person that ordered it is the one that's drinking it. But in Korea, because it's usually one person that orders, it's like assumed that it's for the table. So I remember one time one of my friends is like, I don't want water today, I want Coca-Cola. So she's like, cola hana 주세요, right? Like, can I have like one cola? And they're like, okay. So they come back with her cola and 4 cups, like for each, because we're gonna share like this bottle of cola that in America, like in the United States, is for one person with like the 4 of us. So they brought us like little cups. And I remember her being like, you guys better order your own sodas. This one's mine. It was really funny. But yeah, so they expect you to share. Like in a lot of places, like if you go to like a dessert cafe place, then they'll, like when you order like a slice of cheesecake or any type of dessert, they'll ask you, oh, how many forks do you want? And I remember the first time I was asked that question, I was like, what? Like, what are you getting at? But so you were expected to share with everybody. This thing was like very different. So if they got your order wrong, you would call them, right? And you'd be like, hey, so I just opened the pizza, there's no sausage on the pizza, or there's no bell peppers, or this isn't what I ordered. They'd be like, okay, we'll come pick it up. Be outside in 10 minutes or something. And they'll come pick it up. They don't, okay, I thought this was weird. In America, you get to keep the food, right? That they messed up because they can't serve it to anybody else. So you get to keep it, it's like extra food. But there, a lot of the companies, they would like, a lot of the restaurants, they'd come to pick up the bad order and take it back with them and then bring you the new order. So you'd have to wait like another 40-30 minutes for your food to come. And I thought that was really odd because I was like, okay, you got my order wrong, one, okay, and now I'm hungry. I'm extra hungry. I was already hungry, obviously, that's why I ordered the food, but now I'm extra hungry because it's already been 30-40 minutes and here comes my, like, you got my order wrong, so now you're gonna take the food that you gave me and take it back, so like I can't even like munch on it while I wait for my actual order. I don't know, that made me upset. So like they'd come and pick it up and like take it back, and I was like super suspicious. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna serve it to someone else? Like, that's suspicious. That's sketchy. That's sketchy.
Also, there's an interview that I did with my friend Laura, and we talked about culture shock, and I'm gonna insert that clip right here.
All right, so our next question is from Instagram. It was, what was your biggest culture shock going to or living in South Korea?
So I thought about it, but I wouldn't say like I really had a culture shock. Yeah. I've been to Asia before, not Korea specifically, but most Southeast Asia, but I've also traveled in other countries and continents a lot. So I like didn't really have strong expectations. I just knew it was going to be really different, so I wasn't really shocked. Like there were some things that I thought were really different, like what I missed most, especially in the first few weeks, was bread. Yeah. We had a lot of bread in Germany, and there was like no bread at all. It was all rice. Yeah. Just rice everywhere, every day, every meal.
And then like the pastry shops or the bakeries in Korea, their bread was so different.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
And they had like, a lot of them had stuff in the middle.
Yeah, it was
like,
really like.
Yeah.
It was really surprising.
Yeah, it looked like
just regular bread, and then you bite it, and it has like sugar inside or something. And then regular, but then no.
Yeah, and then no. Like you couldn't tell from the label, like even if you could read Korean, you couldn't tell that there was going to be jelly inside. And it wasn't like a little bit of jelly. It was like you'd bite into it and then it'd all like a toothpaste bottle. Like you hit it and it went it was like that. So bread. Yeah. Is there anything else for you other than bread?
I mean, no, not really, I guess.
All right, and then Chelsea, the next question you asked me was, did the staring bother you? So actually, I don't remember getting stared at that much. I mean, there were definitely times where we got stared at, and there were times people tried to take like secret pictures of us. I remember, oh my gosh, guys, there was one time my friends and I were on the subway, and like we weren't sitting next to each other, we were like sitting across from each other, and my friends had fallen asleep. God bless them. They had fallen asleep, and so they're, you know, like they're leaning on each other like, all right. And I was sitting across from them, and I was honestly, I was asleep too. Like, you know when you're asleep but awake? That was me. And I remember the Korean girls sitting next to me were talking in Korean, being like, what happened to the foreigners? Like, why are they all like sleeping? Like, you know? And I remember one of them, I distinctly, oh my gosh, I distinctly remember her saying, like, let's take a picture of them. And I remember like, nah, this is not about, you about to take a picture of my friends while they sleeping all ugly, like, no. And I remember like, wait, like, cause they didn't know I was awake, right? Cause my eyes are closed, I'm like sleeping, but like I can hear everything. So I was like, dang, I have to like look at them funny. And so I remember turning to them. Okay, I'm gonna turn my chair. Okay, so I'm like looking this, like I'm like sleeping, and I remember looking like this, and then going like, but I looked at them like seriously, like really, and they saw me look at them like, what are you doing? And so they were like, oh snap. And like they didn't say this because by that point they were like, she speaks Korean. And I was like, yes, I do speak Korean, put your phone away. That's the only time I remember like a negative experience. There were times that people came up to us, especially Laura. People would go up to Laura and be like, can I take a picture with you? Like Koreans would come up and be like, can I take a picture with you? Probably because of her blue hair. But yeah, we honestly, we didn't get stared at that much. But yeah, so I didn't, like I don't think we really had to adjust to it that much, because we just kind of, I think I had seen so many YouTube videos telling me that I was gonna get stared at that I probably just, it didn't bother me, honestly, because I want to say I was mentally prepared for it. So I don't really remember it happening that much, except for like when they'd come and ask to take pictures with us, or when they said they were gonna take a picture of my friend sleeping, and I was like, you are not about to do that. Excuse me, who are you? But yeah, okay, so Chelsea, you also asked, and how did you prepare yourself to be okay with being so far from your family? Honestly, I don't think I prepared for that. Like my family's really close and we talk to each other a lot, but I was kind of like super excited to be going, like, I'm going to Korea. Like I wasn't really thinking about that, so I didn't. And honestly, I don't think I missed my family that much. That sounds really bad, but I think going to college like away from my family helped me, because I remember when I first became a freshman at university, like I cried a lot because I missed my family so much. Like I was homesick so much my freshman year of college. And my family doesn't even live that far away from where my university is, but it was far enough to where I moved, right? So I think that is what prepared me for being away from my family. So after coming to university and like going through all that, like I miss my family, homesickness, crying and stuff, I was prepared. So going to Korea really, it didn't feel that different from being away from my family, but like at university, if that makes sense. So like I FaceTimed with my family a lot. We had calls with each other a lot. Like it was fine. I think in terms of homesickness, it happened like a month and a half into my experience in Korea, and it wasn't necessarily like I miss my family, because I was already used to not living with my family, but it was more like I miss the US. Like I miss my university, like I miss my friends at my university, because you know, like when you're abroad, you're like your friends' lives and everything, they're still going on, so you'll see all the pictures of them hanging out. You'll see like, that's my university, oh my gosh, there's a football game and I'm not there. Like just like that is what made me homesick. So I think when I was in Korea, that's the time I listened to K-pop like the least. Like I didn't listen to K-pop that much when I was in Korea. Like I only listened to Spanish music because it made me feel like I was at home. So I listened to a lot of Spanish music to make me feel at home, and all my like laptop pictures, like the wallpaper on my laptop, it It was always like my university, my friends, or like my hometown, or like my family. And then like my phone like wallpaper was always of like my home, my university, my family. It was never like a K-pop star anymore. Like sometimes it was, but rarely. Like that's how I dealt with being apart from my family. So yes. Our next question is from Astrid. So Astrid, you asked, were you ever treated differently on your trips to Korea because you were a foreigner? If so, what were other people's reactions or interactions with you like? Okay, so was I treated differently? Yes, most definitely. But my experience was rarely negative. Honestly, I don't really remember ever being treated poorly because I was a foreigner. I know I've seen videos of people talking about being treated negatively because they're a foreigner. Personally, that's just not something I ever experienced, so I can't talk about that. But when I think of the differences in being treated as a foreigner, it was mostly like good experiences. So for example, I think I've talked about this multiple times on my channel, but there was like this one, okay, there were two. There were these two emos or aunties that worked at like one of my favorite samgyeopsal restaurants in town. And so I'd go there a lot. Like I went there a lot, especially my second semester. I'd go there for lunch like every Monday with my my Korean friend. And so every time we'd go in, they'd see me, and knowing that I could speak some level of Korean, they'd be like, oh, like 왔어, or like 돌아왔어, like oh you came, or like oh you're back again. Like that's how they greet me. And so since like we talked a lot, they would come and like they'd help like flip my samgyeopsal, even though they didn't need to. Like they knew I knew how to flip my samgyeopsal, but like they came and they wanted to do it for me, or they wanted to come and like cut it up for me. Whenever they were eating like snacks, they'd come and bring me some. Like I remember distinctly, there was one time one of the emos was eating like some what's the brand called, like Harabino, like you know those gummy bears that are like really good. Yeah, so she was eating like a package of those, and she came and stopped by our table, and she got a little napkin and she puts it down next to me. I was like, what's happening? And she like gives me some of her gummy bears. It was really funny because she didn't even give any to my Korean friend who's sitting across from me. She only gave them to me. It was really funny that they'd always like come and stop by my table and be like, how are you? And they'd be like, oh, your hair's so pretty, and they'd like touch it. Yeah, they were really sweet. So I think all my experiences were pretty good. They were really extreme. Like obviously not everyone responded like that. I'm thinking about church. You guys remember earlier I talked about going to mass, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first time I went to mass, I got called out hardcore. Like I'm sitting in the back of the church because I don't want to be seen, you know. I wanted an easy entrance, easy exit kind of situation in case I felt uncomfortable. No, the priest, he saw me. The whole congregation, he saw me. And so during mass, like if you're Catholic and potentially if you're Christian, I don't know how our masses are different, sorry. But when we tend to say like peace be with you before we have like the blood of Christ and like the body of Christ, right? So usually like the priest will say something along like, please like greet your neighbor, like peace be with you kind of stuff. And we'll usually, at least in the US, we turn and we'll like give each other a hug or like a handshake and be like, oh, peace be with you. So before that, he's talking in his mic, right? And he's like, he says in Korean, like, does anyone know how to say peace be with you in English? And I heard him say that. I was like, he did not. Why did he say that? Why did he say that? Like, I'm in the countryside. There are no other foreigners in here, which I later learned there was one more foreigner from my school, but that doesn't matter. So at the time, I was like, there's no more. Why is he bringing this up? Like, he's like, it's peace be with you. He's like, make sure you greet our foreigner. She's sitting over there. And the whole congregation turned around and looked at me, and I was like, oh, 안녕하세요. Like, oh my gosh. That was a funny, oh my gosh, that was a real story, guys. That was a real, But yeah, I don't think I was ever treated poorly. Like people would come up to me and ask me like, do you need help? Even if they didn't speak English. So yeah, my experience was always pretty positive. People would just ask me like, oh, where are you from? Like every time I stepped in a taxi and told them where to go in Korean, they'd be like, oh, 어디서 왔어요? Like, 어느 사람이에요? Like, oh, where did you come from? Like, what country are you from? And then we'd have a conversation and they'd be like, oh, like, 한국어 잘 하시네요. Meaning like, oh, you're so good at Korean. And I'd be like, oh, thanks. Thanks, bro, thanks. So yeah, it was always pretty positive. The one negative experience I remember, and this didn't happen to me, it happened to my friend. It happened to Laura. You know what? I think Laura talked about this in our interview, so I'm just gonna let her take the, I'm gonna insert that clip because she talks about it and she was not happy. But yeah.
I know that Koreans are really polite when speaking to you, but an African-American friend of mine said that she had a really hard time there because of racism. Can you recommend anything to her or maybe speak about this?
Yeah. Okay, so we cannot speak from our personal experiences, so we reached out to some of our friends that we also studied abroad with, and both of these girls were there for a year. So yeah, we have some messages from them.
We're gonna read their messages.
We're gonna read their messages. Okay. One of our friends said, my experience was really good. I did not really experience any open racism. Everyone I met there was very nice to me and thought I was very beautiful. They did say I reminded them of famous black people sometimes, and they thought I could sing because I was black. But before I went to Korea, I did a lot of research on other black people going there. They could have different experiences. It is important to know that most of the time, their only reference is online and TV, which doesn't always depict us in the best light, and they might have had a bad experience with another black person that skewed their judgment. Also, this might be the first time they've met a black person in person. It is our job as black people to show and remind, to show them, it cut off. I cut it off by accident. To show you, it's the same message.
No, wait, doesn't continue.
Oh wait, it probably should. Oh, to show, okay, found it. Difficulties. Okay. To show them our best side because they don't always know how awesome we can be. Oh yeah, she says, oh yeah. And I have noticed knowing Korean, even a little, gains a lot of respect from the people. Awesome. So that was one, and then you want to read the other one?
Yeah. Okay. She said, my experience with Korea overall was pretty great. There were some difficulties I had to overcome, like every other foreigner. I'd get stares and would get shoulder bumps by a lot of ajumas, so the old ladies, because I was a foreigner. A lot of my discomfort lies a lot with the elders of Korea, and it could be because they never seen a black person before. Thankfully, it just went as far as staring, shoulder bumps, and occasional whispers. After a while, I got used to it. There were some older men and women who were really sweet though. I made many friends in Korea and it really made my experience sweeter and outweigh the bad. My Korean friends really took care of me and brought me to many fun places. I think making friends in Korea is not too difficult as you present yourself as respectable. Koreans would be really eager to make friends, well, in my experience. And I always use the opportunity to re-educate Koreans about African Americans.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about different types of people.
Yeah.
I know, like, my students would always ask me weird questions. Well, okay, it feels weird as an American being asked. Like, you have the option to TA in our program for students, like, Korean students that are learning English that aren't, like, in the dorm or in our program specifically. Yeah. So, like, mine would always ask me questions like, oh, do you own a gun? Are you scared to live in America? Is it dangerous? And I remember thinking, no, I don't know. So I think everybody had
I think a lot of the things they said also applied to all the foreigners.
Yeah.
Like, we would all get stared at and stuff, and whispers, and...
Yeah, I remember when...
Ajumas are generally, like, rude to
They're aggressive.
everyone.
Yeah.
I don't think they were targeting, like, black people specifically.
Yeah. There was one stop that had a lot of, like, an older population.
Yeah.
So anytime you were going to get on the subway at that time, you were going to have to push them back. I know that sounds rude, but, like, culturally that was, like, acceptable when getting on and off the subway because there were, like, herds of people getting on through these little doors. So like, they would run to their seats because they wanted a seat.
Yeah.
So, like, you're going to get pushed.
Also, one thing I had that was, I guess, a little racist towards foreigners in general, maybe. I went clubbing with two friends. Mm-hmm. One was Asian, but she came from America, and another one was Korean, was her Korean roommate. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to go clubbing and they let both of them in for free because the club was free. But when I wanted to get in after them, they were like, no, you have to pay 10,000 won, which is like $10.
Yeah, about.
I was like, why? And they said something in Korean, and our Korean friend translated was like, oh, because you're a foreigner. So they even let in my Canadian friend because they didn't know that she wasn't Korean. They just wanted to stop me because I was a foreigner. Maybe they had some bad experiences with foreigners before in their club because, I mean, they don't meet a lot of foreigners. So if they meet some, it's gonna be really, like, make a big impression on them. But yeah, I feel like if you were African American and you experienced that, it could be seen as, oh, they're really racist towards just that group of people, but it was racist towards every foreigner.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible they're a little more racist.
Yeah, maybe.
But, I mean, again, we can't speak for that. Yeah, but
we got the two answers from.
Yeah, our friends, they said they didn't experience too much, I guess.
Our next question is from Jordan. So Jordan, you asked, how did you gain confidence in speaking? So there's no like secret hack or something to become confident in speaking. Honestly, it's still something that I struggle with a lot. But I think the thing I had to realize when it came to being like confident in speaking is that people really don't care if you're making mistakes. And so for me, the thing that made me more confident or the most confident in speaking is just speaking. So as I became like, as I like pushed myself to speak Korean, I realized that Koreans don't think it's weird if you speak in Korean and make mistakes. Like, they don't look at you funny. Like, the only, okay, if they look at you funny, it's because they're like shook that you're speaking Korean. Like, I've definitely spoken Korean to a Korean before and they were like, and it's not because like my Korean was weird, it was just because they were so surprised. Like, I have one Korean friend, I didn't like him when we first met because I spoke to him, okay, he was having a conversation with my Korean friend in Korean, right? And I said something in Korean and his face, he looked at me, he was like, like and then he responded in English, and then I had to say some more stuff in Korean, and then like eventually he started talking Korean. He was just so shook. Like, I think he thought he auto-translated what I said into Korean or something because like his face was like shook. But he's the only one that's ever done that to me. Like they don't, I don't know, there's no weird reactions and they don't get impatient with you or anything. So it's just go for it. And honestly, when you speak, you'll get more corrections because they'll tell you, like if you're making a really big mistake and you're actually friends with someone, they'll probably tell you like, hey, like you're doing great, but next time use this word instead. So yeah, confidence in speaking was just doing it. And as you do it, you'll realize like, oh, there's nothing weird about doing it. And then it'll just become easier. So yeah. Alrighty, so our next question is from Michelle Studies. So Michelle, when I was editing, I realized I skipped your question. I don't know how that happened, I'm so sorry. But you asked me, how do you edit your videos and what are your plans after graduation? So I edit my videos using iMovie. That's just because I have a Mac, and when I started YouTube, I didn't want to like invest any money at all. So I used iMovie. I still use iMovie. Everything I have ever made has been edited on iMovie. And then you didn't ask this, but I'll go ahead and share. So up until this point, so with the exception of this video, my changes coming to my channel and Jin's birthday video, all of my videos have been filmed on my iPhone 6S, literally all of them. So if you're wanting to get into YouTube, which I'm assuming you are, and that's why you're asking me this question, just use what you have. All you're gonna need is some good sunlight and you'll be golden, and a tripod. You might need a tripod. But yes, so yes, iMovie. I use iMovie. And then you also asked, what are your plans after graduation? So when I was originally filming this video, as you guys heard, I had one job offer. Now I have 2 job offers. So I haven't picked which one I will be going with, but they are both in supply chain, and both of those employers have, I guess, notified me that I can start at the end of January, beginning of February. So yes, I'll be working in supply chain, like in my major. I've gotten jobs within my major, so those are my plans. Start working full time. And then our next question, do you have a name on yours? I'm gonna call you Mur. you shall be Mer. I think that's, I don't know how to actually pronounce your name, but we're gonna go with that. So Mer, you asked, how do you practice pronunciation and know what is correct? What do you reference? Pronunciation is what keeps me from learning the language because I don't think I can do it. How did you do it? Cry emoji. Please don't cry. So for me, in terms of learning pronunciation, it was just doing a lot of listening, like a lot of listening. I listened to so many podcasts before going to Korea. And because I had listened to K-pop and watched a lot of K-dramas like the years before I started actually learning Korean, that really helped me like distinguish Korean sounds. Could I pronounce them when I first started learning? No. I wish I had video footage of like when I first started learning Korean, like me trying to speak Korean, because I bet it sounded awful. But the thing I would reference was the audio files. So after doing a lot of listening and like practicing, just like practicing what I was saying, I was doing an okay job. And I think it just, pronunciation is something that develops over time. So there's still things that I pronounce wrong and I'm like working on it. For example, it took me forever how to pronounce E. Like E, like I made a video about how to pronounce E as E, right? Like when it's supposed to be pronounced like E, or E. And that took me forever to learn. Like when I was in Korea, I remember listening to my Korean friends talk and being like, I know it's E, but why are they saying it as E? Why are they saying it as E? Like, I don't know, just the continuously exposing yourself like to Korean and like listening to people speak or listening to audio tracks, you'll start to pick up when things sound different, and that'll cue you to go look it up. So I learned the E because I looked it up, because after like a certain amount of time I was like, okay, something's going on here. What is it? And so I had to go look it up. And like lir as well, like I recently made a video about that. Like that took me forever to figure out, and I learned that just through listening to people talk. But yeah, so in terms of knowing what's right, I go to Naver. So when I have a question about how to pronounce a certain word, I will go and look it up on Naver, the Korean version on Naver. I'm pretty sure I have a clip that I can insert here. If I do have a clip, I will insert it right here. So you're gonna type in this word and do your best to type it in as like the infinitive, if it is a verb or an adjective. And then if a word pops up, check it with your English lyrics to make sure that it is the word you are looking for. And if it is, then go ahead and highlight that word in your lyrics. And then once you've highlighted all your words that you don't know, you are going to open up Naver again and you are going to look up these words. So when you look them up, go ahead and write down the word, right, in its infinitive, and then go ahead and click on Google, which should be near like the top toolbar-ish area. So Google will turn basically the whole website into Korean. It'll tell you what type of word this is. It'll tell you if it's a noun or an adjective or a verb or a particle even. So it'll tell you that in like brackets, and it'll also tell you how to pronounce the word. So in Hangul, you'll see it in brackets, and if it's like different, if the pronunciation is different, it'll tell you like, oh, instead of having like one tigut, it's two, or even though it's spelled like this, it's actually pronounced like this. It'll tell you right there, so you can also write that down, so you don't learn to pronounce the word incorrectly. Alrighty, so I hope you found that helpful, Mer. But yeah, so I don't think I ever fully focused on pronunciation when I was like first starting off learning Korean. Like obviously you need to think about it, you need to move away from romanization, but I don't think there was ever a time where it kept me, or like I was super conscious about it to the point where it left me or made me not want to practice my speaking. Like just go for it, because again, as I said earlier, pronunciation is something that is going to continue developing. There's no way you can be perfect at it, at least in my opinion. There's no way you can be perfect at it as a beginner. Like there's just so many little ins and outs of pronunciation that you can only learn over time with exposure. So yeah. Also, when I was reviewing Talk to Me in Korean's 100 top phrases in Korean movies, or I think that's what it's called. Is it movies or is it dramas? I don't remember. But at the end of that video, I talked a little bit about intonation and how it improved my Korean pronunciation. So I'm gonna insert that clip for you guys right now.
여러분, 저 그냥 발음이랑 intonation 어떻게 키운지에 대한 질문 많이 받아서 오늘 address 할 거예요. 사실 이런 이북 아니면 이런 프레이즈북으로 많이 도와주셔서 보여드릴게요. 자, 이 표현 좋을 것 같아요. 이 문장이 한 번만 영성해 주세요 이에요. Or please forgive me just this once. Okay. 이 처음 볼 때 천천히 말해도 돼요. Repeat 해야 해요. Gradually you need to start saying it faster so that it sounds more natural. 이 써야 하는 상황에 천천히 말하면 그냥 자연스럽지 않을 것 같아요. Right? If you need to say this in a situation, it's gonna sound more awkward if you say 한 번만 영성해 주세요. Because you're thinking about it, right? It doesn't sound as natural. So if you start saying it faster and practice it over and over again, you'll start saying it more naturally. You want to say it just like you would say it in the actual situation that you need to use this sentence. So in the situation, you're not going to be like 한 번만 영성해 주세요. No, you're going to want to be like 한 번만 영성해 주세요. 한 번만 영성해 주세요. You want to say it like you're in a movie, like you are the main actor or actress, you are the lead in the movie, or whoever needs to say this, and you want to say it just like you would actually use it. So that is honestly how I have improved my intonation and pronunciation in general with Korean, is going through sentences like these and saying it as naturally as possible. I don't want to just read it out loud like I'm reading a textbook. I want to read it like with the feeling I would have when I would actually need to use it.
Alright, so I hope those 2 video clips were helpful. Also, I hope you guys really grab snacks, because I'm realizing this video is getting really long, but I'm going to answer everybody's question. I am determined to answer everyone's question. So, yes, we shall continue. Okay, so the next question I got was from Vincent Studies. So, what is your dream career? My dream career, honestly, I don't think I really... I'm like thinking about it. I was like, what have I said before when I answered this question? I think the last time I answered this question, I said that I wanted to own my own business. And one that allows me to travel a lot, which is still true. I would love that. But I've come to realize I have like lots of dream jobs. Like there's certain jobs that would like be great and I'd be so happy doing them. For example, doing anything in my major and being able to like travel at the same time would be like a dream. I consider that a dream job. I consider being like a full-time YouTuber like a dream job. I consider having my own business that allows me to travel a dream job. Like there's so many things out there that I think would be great and I would consider like my dream job. So I can't say that I fully have like one. I don't have like just one dream job. But basically the underlining theme of all those jobs is being able to travel and being able to share that experience with other people, so you guys. So yeah, I think anything that would allow me to travel and still make a good income and allow me to like create things would be a pretty good dream job, or anything that allows me to use my language abilities would be cool. Okay, moving on. So Rebecca, you asked me, do you want to give up learning any of the languages you're learning? How do you deal with discouragement? Discouragement. I can't even speak English anymore. Are there any languages you want to quit learning? No. When I was like, German. I was like, no, actually, I still really want to learn German. I don't think there's any languages that I necessarily want to quit learning. There's some that I've put on pause. German is on pause, but like I think German is beautiful and I really, really want to learn German. Like Mandarin is on pause usually, most of the time it's on pause, but I don't want to stop learning Mandarin. Yeah, there's no languages that I want to quit learning. They're simply on pause because I needed a break from them, or like I needed a break because of discouragement. Like German is so hard for me. Every time I tried to sit down to learn it, I was stressed out because I couldn't understand what was happening. But you know, that's normal at the beginning to feel stressed out. So yeah, dealing with discouragement, just going, keep like, just literally just be like Dory and be like, keep on swimming, 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 swimming. Yeah, I think that's my attitude towards discouragement. And sometimes it's taking a break. Like with German, I don't have the time, and it also stresses me out a lot, so it's on pause. But that's probably how I deal with discouragement. It's just taking a break to breathe. Moving on. So we have Quickie Studies. What's the best way to practice speaking Korean when you don't have Korean friends to practice with? Woo, girl, I got you. Okay, just talk to yourself. That's my answer. Just talk to yourself. I know I've talked about this in like so many of my videos, but honestly, like the majority of my Korean speaking skills have come from me just talking to myself. I will argue with myself in the car. I will think of all these crazy like things like in my head, like scenarios, and I'll be like, what would I say? And then like I think about it and I say it, and I actually practice my responses if they have to be fast. For example, if I'm imagining myself arguing with someone, I will repeat the same phrase over and over and over again until I can say it at a natural speed that works for the situation. So if I'm saying like 똑바로 해, like do it right, like ideally, because I don't really remember learning this phrase, but most likely when I first learned this phrase, I was probably reading it and I probably saw it as like 똑바로 해, and so practicing like speaking it, I probably like messed it up a few times. I probably you know, said it incorrectly a few times, so I just say it over and over and over again, and so I can say like 똑바로 해, like do it right, like what are you doing, like do it right. Actually I have a clip of that from a study vlog, so I'll insert that in here for you guys in a moment. But basically that's what I do. I just practice the phrases that I encounter and I'll say it over and over again, or I'll make up a phrase and I'll say it over and over again, so I can practice the speed and the intonation of it, so that when I do have to when I do have to say it or have the opportunity to say it, I can say it without it like sounding super awkward. So yeah, let me go ahead and insert that clip so you know what I'm talking about. All right, next question. Just had some of my bubble tea because I haven't had any of it in like the past hour. How long have we been filming this video? I have to keep pausing the camera because it wants to like freak out or something. Honestly, I'm still learning how to use this camera. Like, I don't know, it wants to pause in like the middle of the video and I'm like, why'd you stop recording? What are you doing? Alrighty, next question. I know I keep doing this because I'm like, onward. So Erwin asked, are you going to upload any Japanese videos to your second channel? Hey Erwin, did you see that new announcement video that changes to my channel video? I know you asked this question like long before I made that announcement, but did you see it? Were you happy? So are you going to upload any, so I'm going to reread your question and I'm going to edit it. Are you going to upload any Japanese videos to your channel? Because I'm merging my channels and it's going to be great. Okay, so the answer to your question is most likely. So actually I don't have any Japanese videos planned right now because I need to focus on Korean and Chinese, and I'm not going to explain yet why. Just blinking. But yeah, so maybe I'm not actively studying Japanese right now because, as I said earlier, it's kind of like an on and off thing, and right now it's about to be finals, so I don't have the best amount of time, and I'm dedicating a lot of time to work because earlier wait, who asked me this? Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. Scroll back. Oh my gosh, what was your name? Radia? Yeah, wait, yeah, Radia, you asked if I was gonna go to Korea anytime soon, and so I've actually, like I said earlier, like I'm really hoping to go. So I'm working a lot. Like my goal is to work 30 hours a week at my part-time job so that if I can go, I have the money to go. Like I just spent money on this camera. Like I gotta like, you know, make more money to like pay it off. Just kidding, pay it off. It's already paid off. But like you know what I mean. So right now Japanese isn't the focus. Like my focus is school, work, and Korean and Chinese at a lower level than Korean, obviously. But yeah, so maybe it'd be okay. So I actually have a lot of Japanese friends at my university right now, so it would be super cool to do a video with them. That'd be really lit. If you want that, you need to tell me what type of videos I should make with my Japanese friends though, because I have no ideas. I don't want to like go up to them and be like, please be in my YouTube videos, and then they'd be like, okay, but like, what are we gonna do? And I'd be like, I don't know, something. Like, yeah, they're super adorable. You guys would love them. Anyway, moving on. So, is your name Mallory? Is that what you put? Malala? Yeah, your name's Mallory. Hey Mallory. Okay, so Mallory, you asked, have you ever done studying abroad? My language teacher has told me I'd be great at it, but I've never really heard anyone's experience about it. Yes, so I'm going to DM you those links. I told you I was gonna do that and then I forgot. I'm sorry. But I'll link you guys with more videos in the description box. Oh my gosh, this description box is gonna have like so many video links in it. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, so when I came back from Korea, I actually made like several videos about studying abroad in Korea. They are kind of old and I was new to YouTube and filming, so please understand that they are going to be a little boring, probably. I feel like I shouldn't call my own video boring, but like at the time I didn't know how to edit very well, so you'll see me say probably a lot. I don't know, I haven't watched those videos, it's been like 2 years, but I do have videos talking about like culture shock, about food delivery, about like my time just as a student there. And then I did an interview with my friend Laura. Like, we both studied abroad in Korea for a year, so we talked about our experience there, and I'll link you with that full interview as well. It's like 40 minutes long. So yeah, that should help you out quite a bit. But yes, long answer short, yes, I did study abroad. I do have, and I got locked out of my phone, and I did make videos about it, so you can go and see that. Sadly, I did not film any videos while I was there because I wasn't a YouTuber until I came back. What a sad thing. But yes, I do have videos there, and if you have any questions, you can just like DM me and be like, how do you study abroad in Korea? Just kidding. Please don't message me with that question. Ask me something specific so I actually know how to answer it. But yeah, I will link you guys with those videos down below. Alrighty, is the camera angle a little different? Is it? You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I had to change my camera battery because it died. It was like, you've been filming for 2 hours, please change me. I was like, okay. So I changed the battery, which means the camera might be a little out of position, but it's fine. So moving on to the next question, we have a question from Luna. So you asked, how do you balance learning a language, work, studying, and so forth? How do you get out of a slump? I feel stuck. How do you find a routine that works for you? And how do you deal with finance? So I assume by finance you mean like the monetary side of learning a language. So I know I did answer a few of your questions in like other questions, just because you guys have the same questions, you know, what do they call it? Brilliant minds think alike or something like that. So you guys are just, you know, on the same page. So I won't answer those questions because I know they were already answered for you, but I will address the how do you find a routine that works for you and how do you deal with like the monetary side of learning a language. So in terms of finding a routine that worked for me, it was a lot of guess and check. So and I also kind of wanted to think about what would provide me the most value. So I didn't want to spend my time, especially when I was first learning Korean. I had 2 months, right, before going to Korea. I didn't want to take any textbooks with me. So I had to think, okay, what is like the best use of my time? And that's why I didn't study with dramas. Like dramas, I didn't study with dramas at all when I first started learning. I think I watched them like when I was absolutely brain dead, right? Because they provide entertainment value and they're better than like nothing, but they were never used like to study Korean. So I think those are the things I considered the most. So even now, I don't think I have like a routine. I know there's people that like make YouTube videos saying like, my Korean study routine. And that's cool. Like some people work really well with routines, but I don't. So I will get really bored. I do have routines, I guess you could say, in terms of how I study vocabulary and how I study like pronunciation, which you can check out the links below, you know, because we already have a laundry list of links down there, so why not? For example, I recently uploaded that how I learn Korean vocabulary video, like my step-by-step method, which is how I learn vocabulary most of the time. I want to say like that's my like vocabulary routine, but overall I don't have like a routine. So yes, just do guess and check, see what works for you, see what like how you learn best. Just think about that, and then you can like make a routine that works for you. The second part of your question was, how do you deal with like the monetary side of learning a language? So my goal is always to not spend a lot on learning a language because there's so many like great free resources out there. And again, they're all linked down below. But when it comes to buying things, I think I'm very picky. Like, okay, if it's something that's above like $10, I'm really picky. So like all of my Korean textbooks that I've purchased, I've really like, thought about it because I don't like spending money on something that's not gonna help me. So if I go to the bookstore, for example, when I go to like half price books and I find Korean books, I actually like really look at it and be like, is this gonna help me learn Korean though? Or is it just nice? Like, because I don't like spending a lot on learning Korean because it makes me feel bad because I'm like, I have Korean friends, like I have access to the YouTube videos, I have this and this that's free, like I don't need to be spending money on it. So like the things that I think are the most expensive on my bookshelf are probably like the Ihwa books because I bought like everything for the level, and those I've gotten so much value out of them, so it's like worth it. But the monetary side, as I said earlier, I have a job. I think last year I actually had 3 jobs. So I had like 2 part-time jobs, and then I did private tutoring for English. So I always have extra money coming in that I can spend on things like that. So yeah, I know everyone's situation's different, but just in terms of like my situation, I can afford to buy books every now and then. So yeah, but I think if you're looking for tips, just be really picky. Just look at the resources and see if it's gonna help you learn Korean, or is it like just pretty, like the illustrations are just pretty, because that's a weakness. Like, you know, when a book looks real pretty and you're like, you will help me learn Korean, and then you're also like, actually you won't, I just like you because you're pretty. So just think about that when you're making purchases. Oh my gosh, guys, our last Instagram question. I'm so excited because we still have YouTube questions to get to. So our last Instagram question is from Yulia again. Okay, I'm sorry, I still don't know how to pronounce your name. You said, another question I have is about Korean friends. How do you make Korean friends, and how do you find good people on Hello Talk, or are there any other sites? Haha, I know I'm late, sorry. you're funny. So I know I already talked about like how I personally made Korean friends, so I won't get into that. But you said, how do you make good friends on Hello Talk? Okay, so I don't use Hello Talk for like language exchange that much anymore, you know, because since I have Korean friends, I'd prefer to talk to them. But when I did use Hello Talk for language exchange, most of the time my picture was like of like a cartoon, or like molang, or like, I don't know, like something. It wasn't me, it was never a person, because you know, you get really weird people. I don't know, you'll get like, okay, I'm a girl, right? So usually I'd get like some guy being like, hey, what's up? What's your Instagram? And I'd be like, no. So I would always put it as a cartoon character, and I would talk to people who had cartoon characters, or they could have, or like I talked to girls, because I was able to like form a better relationship with them because they were honestly there to learn. They weren't trying to like hit me up or something weird. So that's how you make good friends, I think. And don't ever tell them where you live. Oh my gosh, please turn your location off. I'm sorry, it's just like the mom in me is like, don't tell them where you live, please. You never know, you never know. And then you asked, are there any other sites? So there is a site called Tandem. It's an app actually, and I think it's kind of similar to Hello Talk. It's a little different. I've tried it. I don't like it that much, but then again, I'm not trying to do language exchanges. I just wanted to see what it was like because it's an app that's similar to Hello Talk. So you can try that. My friend does it and she loves it. She says it's way better than Hello Talk, and I'm like, okay, cool. There's also a site that I used like way back in the day, called interpals.net. Honestly, I don't even know if people still get on there. I have no idea. It's still a site though, so if you want to try that, you can just go like to the website and just log in and like email people, not email, but like message people through the platform. I think I actually made a lot of good friends that way, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I would try that. Okay, I hope that provided value to you. I feel like I just was like, I mean, I do this. Okay, anyway. Alrighty, so Maureen, you asked me some questions after I had originally filmed this video, but here I am having to film questions because I forgot them. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer your questions. So your first question was, are you going to be doing another language challenge anytime soon? If so, is it going to be Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, or German? Huiting. So right now I really want to do another challenge video, and I've been trying to do one over the past few months, but the timing just has not worked out with my school schedule and my work schedule, and graduation is coming. And I'm hoping to get other YouTubers to do it with me. So I don't have one like planned, but I do want to do one, and I do want it to be on a language other than Korean. So maybe Chinese, maybe Japanese. I honestly have no idea right now because I don't know where it's gonna fit into my schedule. I'm being really honest. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do it, but I do want it to be on a language other than Korean. And then you also asked me, now that you've merged your two channels, can we expect more language learning through songs apart from Korean? So no. No, simply because Korean is my strongest language, or the language that I'm most proficient in. So I don't feel comfortable teaching words from songs in other languages. Like, I guess my next most fluent language would be Spanish, and I still make a lot of Spanish errors and like pronunciation errors in Spanish. And so I don't feel comfortable teaching like Spanish words through Spanish songs. And then after that, my next proficient language would be Chinese. And although I learn a lot of Chinese words through Chinese songs, tones are still very difficult for me, and I don't feel comfortable teaching how to pronounce Chinese words to you guys. I'm taking care of you, okay? I don't want to like teach you guys something incorrectly. So yeah, so no. For the time being, the answer is no to that question. But thank you for your question. Okay, we're gonna go to the YouTube questions. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm supposed to be driving home today, like for Thanksgiving. My family called me earlier while I was filming, and they were like, where are you? And I'm like, filming a video. I'm totally not filming a video. I had camera difficulties, okay? Like, I'm sorry. All right, okay, got it. All right, so YouTube questions, let's go. All right, so the first question is from Michaela. How did learning Korean change your daily life? I think every day I use Korean. Like, even in like, okay, I could go through a whole day without like speaking to a Korean person, but every day I'm doing something in Korean. So like most of the music I listen to is Korean or Spanish. I think I've said that before, but it's like changed. Like, I don't know, when I listen to like Korean music, it's no longer just like, do I like the way it sounds? Now it's like, do I like the lyrics though? Because if I listen to a song and the lyrics are funny and like I can actually tell that they're funny, like I will stop listening to the song. Because usually I'm listening to K-pop, honestly. I'm listening to K-pop. So I'm like listening to the lyrics, and I'm listening to understand. Sometimes I'll be writing like things on my laptop, like in a little document for whatever reason, and it'll be in Korean because I don't want the person behind me reading it. Or my goals for the day will be written in Korean. Like my to-do list will be in Korean. Just like little things like that. Usually my friends and I will message in Korean. Yeah. I think the biggest way Korean changed my life is like this YouTube channel, because coming back, right, I needed something to motivate me to continue learning Korean, and I felt that I had a lot of knowledge that I could share, because a lot of my friends would ask me like, how did you learn Korean? And it's because like they wanted to learn Korean, so I was like, yeah, we just make some videos. I'll send people links when they ask me, because yeah, so that's probably how it changed my life the most, is like, now I have like a community. I can't stop smiling, but now I have like a community of like Korean learners, like not Korean learners, like people learning Korean, if you know what I mean. So like we can talk to each other, and like you guys keep me motivated and stuff, and I can scroll through Instagram and be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so studied today, like I want to study today. So it just helped me stay motivated. In terms of having studied abroad and how that's changed my I guess daily life, is that I'm always like, oh, what time is it in Korea? Because if I want to talk to my friend, I can only text them during this certain window because it's the only time we're both awake, and things like that. I think it's helped me understand other cultures better. So when I meet a foreign exchange student, like I think sometimes people will be like, why do they do that? And I'll be like, well, they were probably doing that because blah, 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 blah. And not just like Korean students. It can also be students from other countries. I'll be like, well, maybe it's like, y'all, this is gonna sound bad, but the number of times I've had to tell someone like, well, they're probably doing that because their culture is different, like, is ridiculous. Like, I don't know, someone will say something like, why do they do that? And I'll be like, well, maybe their culture is different, and in their culture that's totally acceptable. It's like, why don't you go ask them or something? Because I'll be like kind of like defending them because like someone will say something and be like, well, maybe they didn't know, maybe their culture is different, like you don't know. Like I bet I did a ton of rude things in Korea and I didn't even know I was being rude. So yes, that's probably how it's changed my daily life the most. And then we have a question from Timmy. Hey. Sorry, you comment a lot on my YouTube videos, so I remember your username. You said, what are the best online websites you recommend? Because I can't buy anything online or at shops or anything. So again, description box. Yay. All right. Then Misha, I think I remembered how to pronounce your name. Right? I think it's Misha. Quite confident it's Misha. Okay, so you asked, oh, that wasn't a question. Oh, what are some of your fave pens or stationery must-haves for studying? I don't know why I did this, but so my favorite would definitely be like the jelly roll ones. I love those pens. Do I have some? They're in my backpack. Should I get in my backpack? I'll get in my backpack. Give me 1 second. I'm back. Okay, I'm like, okay, so I've already packed to go home because literally as soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm driving home. Okay, so these pens are my favorite, like these jelly roll pens. Please focus. Don't focus on my face, focus on the pen. Oh my gosh, this is a struggle. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Okay, please focus on that. Oh. That's why beauty gurus do this. Okay. But yeah, so it's gonna be these jelly roll pens. Focus. Yes. Okay, these jelly roll pens. You see them all, and it's focusing. Give it a second. Okay, so these pens are for sure my favorite pens. Okay, they're not like, there's lots of pens that I love, but I love these just because they don't like, I don't know, they're just really nice. Like I rarely have to like scribble them on a piece of paper to make them work or anything. I just think they're great. I love them. And then I like the these Sharpies. Oh, Beauty Guru. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. Oh my gosh, it's upside down. Oh my gosh, it's okay. Hold up. Don't see my face. All right, there we go. Yes, these Sharpies. I love these. They don't smear, and like the tip. Look at the tip. Work. Oh, it's still focusing on my face. Okay, the tip. I think, is it focused? Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, hold up. Oh my. There we go. The tip is clear, so you can see what you're highlighting. Like you can see it as you're highlighting it, which makes it super cool. So these Sharpies and the jelly roll pens. Just drop stuff. It's fine. Those are my stationery must-haves. In terms of actual paper, any type of paper, college rule paper, recycled paper, it's all great. I'm not very like picky with paper. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I feel like I just got really excited for no reason, but yes. Okay, and then Willie Nick said, would you have learned Korean if K-pop didn't exist? I guess the short answer to a long answer would be no. Simply because, well, okay, so I said I didn't learn Korean because of K-pop. I think we all have learned that by now. But being interested in K-pop is one of the things that led me to like looking at Korea as a potential like study abroad destination, I guess you could say. So if I hadn't started listening to K-pop in high school, I wouldn't have started watching K-dramas. I probably wouldn't have started developing an interest in Korea, and I probably would have gone to China. Like, okay. So the reason I didn't go to study abroad in China was because of the cost. I didn't feel comfortable, like I was gonna have to pay for housing, and when I was looking at the housing in Beijing, I didn't feel comfortable spending that much money on housing because I didn't know what my other expenses were gonna look like. I could afford it. Like, I could afford to go, but I didn't want to pay that much money. So that's when I started looking at alternatives. And I think if I hadn't listened to K-pop, I wouldn't have looked at Korea, right? I wouldn't have developed this interest in Korea that led me to look at the programs in Korea, which means I probably wouldn't have found the program in Korea, which means I probably would have gone to China. I would have just paid that money and been like, here, China, take my money, I'm coming. Like, or if I hadn't gone to China, I probably would have gone to Japan because I was so in love with Japan in high school. Like, I wanted to study abroad in Japan in high school. Like, I actually tried to go study abroad as a high schooler. Like, it didn't work. I didn't get to go. But I probably would have ended up in one of those 2 countries if I had never found K-pop. Okay. I gave you a short answer and then I gave you the long answer anyway. Anyway, moving on to Chrissy's question. So Chrissy, you asked, if you could only meet one member of BTS, who would it be and what would you say? You had to ask, okay, out of all the questions I've gotten, your question is the most difficult. Like, why are you asking me this? Okay, so I've gotten this question in a Q&A for Instagram before, and I thought about it long and hard. I thought about it for a very, very long time. And at that time, I said Namjoon, because I feel like Namjoon and I could have a very like deep conversation about like whatever. Like, I would love to go to a coffee shop with Namjoon and just sit there and like, I don't know how we would get talking, but I feel like we could talk about things in like really well. That sounds really weird. I'm trying, how do I explain myself? Like, we could have a conversation and really get into like why we think about certain things a certain way. For example, I feel like we could have a good like culture talk and start talking about like cultures, because like he's traveled all over, right? So I feel like we could be like, oh, he could be like, oh yeah, when I was in this country, I noticed that they do this and this. And I'd be like, oh, that's so interesting. In America, we don't do that or whatever. He'd be like, oh, really? Like, interesting. Like, I feel like we could have a really like, cool conversation. Just because he seems really like a really cool, like chill dude. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be intimidated by him. But even though I said that for Instagram, it's been a few months. And I don't know why, but right now I just really feel like talking to Taehyung. Okay, so my bias is J-Hope, right? So you'd think I'd want to be like, oh yeah, J-Hope, but like, I don't know. I feel like talking to V right now. So I'm gonna go with V. I don't know what I know what we talk about. We talk about photography. That's what we would talk about. Like, with my limited, okay, so I'm getting super excited because I'm like thinking about it. Okay, if I were to have a conversation with B, I would study like a ton of like photography words ahead of time. Like, I would study a ton of like Korean words for photography. And that way when I talk to him, I can talk to him about how he likes photography. Because recently I've been trying to learn a lot about like cameras, right? So before I bought this camera, I wanted to make sure that I had a good understanding of what the specs meant. Because I was like, okay, I need a camera that works well in low light. I need a camera that has long battery life. I need a camera that has like a wide angle. I need a camera that does this, right? I don't know how to determine that based on the specs. So I was going and looking at lots of cameras. I was looking at how to film different things based on your camera. So just because I've been learning about like all these like cool camera things, I've been thinking about about photography a lot. Granted, I'm not super into photography. I'm more of like a video person. But I think we could have like a really cool conversation about how we like to like shoot things. So he could be like, oh yeah, I really like taking pictures of this and this is like how I like to do it. And I'd be like, oh, what do you like, how do you set your camera for that? Or how do you set your camera for this? So I think, yeah, so today it's Taehyung and we would talk about photography and videography. I was like, that's a really long word that I've never said out loud. Ask me tomorrow and actually don't ask me tomorrow, it's gonna be the same thing. Ask me in like 3 months and it's probably gonna be like a different member about something else. But yeah, I've been thinking about photography a lot, so definitely V. So the next question is from the outside. You said, or you asked, that's a better word. You asked, what do you think about 17? I've heard they're popular in Korea, but they're still such an underrated group. Please give your opinion though. I love 17. I'm not like a super hardcore fan, but every time they have a comeback, I'm there. Like, I'm like ready. I'm like, 17 had a comeback? Where's it at? Like, what's it about? What's the concept? Like, 17. I love 17. I'm not super hardcore, so don't start throwing names at me. I don't know their names. I know Vernon, Scoops, Uzi, or Woozy, if you pronounce it in English, Hoshi, and that I feel like there's some, I don't remember the other, okay, that's it. Like, I know there's a lot. There's like 9, I think there's 9. Actually, I really don't know. But those are the members that I know by name, and like I can actually see their face in my head. But yeah, I like them a lot. And then you said, or you asked, you basically asked if I know if they're like popular in Korea. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. They were still, had they debuted when I was in Korea? I'm gonna check it. Hold up. Let's look this up. 2015. Okay, so they had debuted. They had debuted when I was in Korea. Honestly, I don't remember seeing any like 17 merch, but they'd only been active for a year when I got there. So I have no input. I can't say anything about how popular they are. I do know that they have a lot of dedicated fans because I have one friend, we're in the same like K-pop club at school, and when she studied in Korea, she went to like every 17 event ever. Like, she had so much merchandise. She came back to the US with so much merchandise. Like, she sold so much stuff. She's like, I got 17 merch for days. Okay, no, that's not how she went about it. She's very quiet, but yeah, so I know they're active. I don't know how popular they are. Sorry, can't really answer that question for you. But yeah, okay, so the next question is from Alexandra. You said, what are your favorite resources for Korean? What do you think you need to do to become an intermediate learner? All right, so my favorite resource at the moment, because it's always changing, is like my EWA books. So this is the study guide, because the study guide honestly has like the best information ever. If you're gonna buy an EWA book and you're very limited in your funding, just get the study guides. Just buy the study guides. They're all you need, honestly. So the study guide, I know I've talked about it. I talked about it in my vocabulary video, but I'll just talk about it again slightly. So it breaks down all the like the grammar points, if you will here. Please focus, yay! So it breaks down the grammar points for you. It shows you like colloquial speech. It talks about, it's really great. I don't know how to say it other than it's like amazing. So it teaches like so much great content. So this is my favorite book. Like, it's my all-around favorite. I think the only thing it's lacking is like listening. It's like, yes, it has dialogues, but I don't think it has enough listening to where you can say that you studied a good amount of listening. Like, you have to use other resources for that, but that's fine. So that's my favorite resource at the moment. And then you asked about what you had to do to become an intermediate learner. Honestly, you just gotta keep going. Learn lots of grammar. Honestly, personally, I think that's the most important thing, is learning grammar. Because even if you know a lot of words, you don't know exactly what they're saying without the grammar, because sometimes the grammar will tell you if they're being positive or negative about like the verb they're using. But yeah, and I say that because I think my vocabulary, like the size of my vocabulary is kind of small for an intermediate learner, and that's something I'm working on. But I would say the grammar, focus a lot on grammar and you should be okay. Obviously, don't completely neglect your vocabulary or you won't understand what's happening in those intermediate grammar lessons. But yes, so study a lot of grammar. I think that's my biggest thing to you would be just study your grammar, because if I remember, the majority of my intermediate courses in Korea were focused on grammar and vocabulary, but I didn't learn all the vocabulary. I did learn all the grammar. So I would focus on grammar and you'll see yourself progress a lot. I sound so unconfident in what I'm saying because it's different for every person, but I would definitely say focus on grammar and listening skills. If you can't understand what's being said, you're not gonna get very far. Speaking, obviously, that's really important too. And honestly, people judge people's levels based on how well they speak, which I think is crazy. It makes me upset. But practice your listening as well, so that you can, I think it'll help you learn faster if you practice the listening. All right, we have 2 questions from Grace. Your first question was, have you heard of Blackpink? They're my favorite K-pop group ever. I don't live under a rock. Yes, I know Blackpink. Have you heard their collab with Dua Lipa? I think that's how you pronounce her name. I don't even know. But like, kiss the makeup. They're like, here, let me play it. Oh my gosh, this is so great about using my phone. I'm gonna play a little bit of it and then I'm gonna sing it to you. Because obviously that's what we have to do here. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's all I'm gonna play because I don't want this to get like, I don't know, a copyright infringement or something. But I like how they're like, 아직 너를 못 떠나고 뭐라고 이르는 건지 언젠가는. Oh my gosh, I think I was listening to this song for like a straight 2 weeks, like on replay. But yes, I do know who Blackpink is. And then I think this is your second question. The rest of your comment says, also, I'm thinking of learning Korean, but the internet says it's one of the hardest languages to learn, and I don't have much time for it on top of school and everything. Do you think it takes a lot of time to learn Korean properly? I think it's gonna depend on you. When I first started learning Korean, I had already studied Chinese, Japanese. I was about to say and, but that's it. So I assume you're from the US. I don't actually know. But according to our government, or the US government, there are 4 languages. I'm pretty sure there are four languages that are considered the hardest languages to learn for English speakers. Korean, Chinese, Japanese, and Arabic. Of those, I had already studied Chinese and Japanese. So I had gotten a good stronghold on Chinese. I wanted probably like mid-beginner in Japanese when I had quit. So by the time I started learning Korean, I already like, I feel like my mindset towards it wasn't, it's one of the hardest languages. Honestly, I don't think any language is necessarily like really hard or anything. I think your mindset is the most important thing. So just, you know, just go for it. It'll be fine. Like obviously there are some languages that are going to be easier depending on what your native languages is because of like the similarity, but it's not impossible. You'll be fine. I'm sure like math was hard when you first started learning algebra, or you first started learning geometry or calculus. Like it's a new language, I guess you could say, but you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And in terms of how long does it take to learn Korean properly, so there's an article I found by the US government that actually talks about this. It was talking about like how long it takes an English speaker to learn one of these difficult languages based on like fluency. I think for intermediate it was like, I want to say 430 hours of time studying the language outside of class. I'm squinting my eyes because I'm trying to remember if that's right. I'll link the post below if I can find it. But yeah, it's supposed to be 430 hours. I don't think I've even studied, let me check. I don't even think I've studied Korean for 430 hours.
Let's see. Range? What's today? Okay, wait. Range 2015. Okay, Korean?
Oh snap, I lied. Okay, I've studied Korean for a total of 640 hours. If you don't know what I'm talking about like my little memorize thing. Hopefully you guys can read that, all right? But let's focus on my face again, please. Thank you. All right, so yeah, I started this using this app just to help me be more productive in my Korean studies when I first started. I'll link the video of me explaining how it works down below because I know someone's gonna ask me. Somebody always asks me. But I would say, I'm gonna go with the government and say about 430 hours. By the time I was going to Korea and tested into the intermediate course, I had studied Korean for 185 hours. Yeah, cool. So it was quite a while. That makes sense. I think it's gonna take a lot of time and dedication, but I think it's more about your mindset more than anything. So I can't really give you a number. I'll give you the blog post. Honestly, I keep saying this over and over again, but I think it depends on you. It depends on you and how you learn, and if you're studying effectively. If you're watching K-dramas for 10 hours, that's not gonna help you as much as sitting with a textbook and studying from a textbook, or doing grammar lessons or learning vocabulary for 10 hours. Yeah, okay. I'm like staring at you like, I hope that was helpful. I don't even know anymore. And then Viva K said, top 3 collabs between K-pop and non-K-pop artists you would love to hear and why. This is probably a really hard question. this is a really hard question. Okay, so I know for sure I want to see Super Junior collab with Becky G, because they keep doing like collabs with Spanish speaking artists. Like they did one with Leslie Grace. I literally died because I love Leslie Grace. And then they did one with Reik, and I was like, oh, it's so good. Like that song was so good. I was not expecting it to be that good. So I'm just waiting for them to do one with Becky G because I think it'd be so lit. Another K-pop and non-K-pop collab. Let's see.
Gosh, this is so hard.
Okay, I thought about it, and another one would be Hyorin and Ariana Grande, for sure. Like their vocals are just so great. Oh my gosh, is my face blue now? I think it's, y'all, it's so dark outside. Okay, but Hyorin and Ariana Grande, and then I really want Suga to, like, on his next mixtape, I want him to do a duet, like with like a female singer. I don't know who. A female singer. Like I like the rap songs where it's like kind of like a really good mix of like a vocalist and like a rapper, where they both kind of like have equal parts and they complement each other really well. Like I really want Suga to do a collab like that. Like I don't know what artist would be good. I haven't really thought about it that much, but like I think one with a really good, like one with a voice that would complement his really well. But yeah, so I don't have input on the person, but that's the kind of collab I would like. Okay, and then the last question. Oh my gosh, you guys are almost done. Okay, so the last question is from Nico. I want to say Neko, like cat in Japanese. Is that a cat in your picture? I can't tell. I'm gonna go with Nico because what if it's not a cat in Japanese? Okay, anyway, he said, hi. Hi, love your videos. Here's my question. If you could meet any K-pop group, who would you want to meet and why? Thank you for loving my videos. If I could meet any K-pop group, assuming it's not BTS, I'm gonna assume not BTS because we all know I want to meet BTS. If I could meet any K-pop group and it wasn't BTS, it would probably be, oh my gosh, who would it be? GOT7? Question mark? Boyfriend? Question mark? Are there any girl groups that I really want to meet? Winner? Question mark? Okay, Winner's not a girl group, but I'm gonna go with GOT7. I'm gonna go with GOT7. I love GOT7. They're so funny. I've followed them from their debut, and not necessarily because I love their music. Like I like their music, but I'm not like super like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 you know. But they're so funny. Like I became their fan because they're so funny. Like I saw their like dance practices like when they first debuted, and they just looked like they were having so much fun. Like so much fun. So that's why I'm their fan. So I would love to meet GOT7. Like we could have the funnest time. Like they're so crazy. Like I don't even think I'd be uncomfortable. Like they'd say, okay, if you're part of Agase, you know what I'm saying is true. You know someone would say something stupid, and like we'd have a great time. Like we'd have a great laugh about it. It'd be great. But that is my answer. Yes, GOT7. Oh my gosh, guys, I've been filming this video for probably like 2 hours. I don't even know, how long is this video? Somebody tell me. Just kidding. I'm sure I'll know when I edit it. I had to keep pausing it because the camera kept freaking out. It was like, my battery, I'm dying. Change me. Okay, but like, yeah. So I will see you guys soon. Should I still say 다음에 even though I'm not making strictly Korean videos anymore? I guess I will, because I don't even know what I'm gonna say anymore. I haven't thought about it that much. But yeah, it's time for me to drive home so I can go get food. You know, Thanksgiving. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys next time. So bye guys, and thank you for all the questions. I don't know why I'm doing this, I'm sorry. Thank you for all the questions, and I hope I was helpful, and check out the links in the description box. Yeah, this outro is so long, but yeah, bye guys, bye.